The business world, a place where dreams are made and broken, where fortunes rise and fall with the tick of the clock, a dynamic, often unpredictable arena. It's a place where the pace is relentless and the stakes are incredibly high. It's a jungle out there, some might say, a concrete jungle where survival of the fittest is the rule of the game. But unlike the laws of nature, we humans have a capacity for ethics. We have the ability to reflect on our actions and their consequences. We can choose to act responsibly, even when the stakes are high. We can decide to do what is right. To a more ethical and sustainable business world. The prisoner's dilemma, a classic conundrum that has captivated game theorists and ethicists alike. This scenario is not just a theoretical exercise, it has real-world implications that extend far beyond the confines of academic debate. Imagine two suspects, let's call them Alice and Bob, arrested for a crime. They are both intelligent and aware of the stakes involved. They're held in separate cells, unable to communicate. This isolation is crucial because it forces them to make decisions based solely on their own interests and assumptions about the other's actions. The authorities offer each a deal. Confess, and you go free while your partner faces a hefty sentence. This deal is tempting because it promises immediate freedom, but it comes with a catch. Stay silent, and you both get a lighter sentence, assuming the other remains silent too. This option requires a level of trust and cooperation that is difficult to muster under pressure. What's the rational choice? From a purely self-interested perspective, confessing seems like the dominant strategy. It minimizes personal risk, but it also introduces a moral dilemma. If your partner stays silent, you go free. This outcome is the best-case scenario for a self-interested individual. If they confess, you at least avoid the worst outcome. This safety net makes confessing seem like a safer bet. But here's the rub. If both confess, they both end up worse off than if they had both stayed silent. This paradox highlights the complexity of human decision-making. The prisoner's dilemma highlights the tension between individual rationality and collective well-being. It forces us to consider the broader implications of our actions. In the business world, we see this play out all the time. Companies face similar dilemmas when making strategic decisions. Companies might be tempted to engage in unethical practices like price fixing, for example, to gain a competitive edge. This short-term gain can be very alluring. In the short term, this might seem rational. The immediate benefits can overshadow the potential long-term consequences. But if everyone acts this way, it can lead to a race to the bottom, harming consumers and ultimately undermining the market itself. This collective downfall is a stark reminder of the importance of ethical decision-making. Ethical decision-making in business isn't just about avoiding legal trouble, it's about fostering a sustainable and fair market environment. Companies that prioritize ethics often find that they build stronger, more loyal customer bases. In the long run, ethical practices can lead to greater success and stability. They create a foundation of trust and integrity that benefits everyone involved. Cooperation and ethical behavior can transform the business landscape. When companies work together for the common good, they can achieve remarkable outcomes that benefit not just themselves, but society as a whole. So the next time you're faced with a tough decision, remember the lessons of the prisoner's dilemma. Consider not just the immediate benefits, but the long-term impact of your actions on the broader community. To cooperate or not to cooperate, that is the question. And the answer may well define the future of your business and the world around you. Picture a lush, shared pasture. Each herder is tempted to add more cattle to their flock. More cattle, more profit. A perfectly rational decision for an individual. But what happens when all the herders follow this logic? The pasture becomes overgrazed, the land degraded, and ultimately everyone suffers. This, in a nutshell, is the tragedy of the commons. It illustrates the dangers of unfettered self-interest when it comes to shared resources. Today, our planet has become that pasture. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the climate we depend on, all shared resources vulnerable to exploitation. Businesses driven by the pursuit of profit can sometimes fall into the trap of over-exploiting these resources. Short-term gains often overshadow long-term sustainability. But here's the thing. Environmental degradation ultimately hurts everyone, businesses included. Kantian ethics in business duty calls, even when profits whisper otherwise. In this section, we delve into the profound teachings of Immanuel Kant and how they apply to the modern business landscape. Immanuel Kant, the stern but insightful philosopher, emphasized the importance of duty and universal moral principles. His philosophy, often referred to as deontological ethics, insists that the morality of an action is based on whether it adheres to rules or duties. Kant argued that our actions should be guided by a sense of what is right, not merely by what is expedient. This means that the ends do not justify the means. Rather, the means themselves must be justifiable. In the business world, this means acting with integrity, honesty, and fairness, even when it's not the easiest or most profitable path. For instance, a company might face a situation where cutting corners could lead to higher profits, but Kantian ethics would demand that the company adhere to ethical practices. Kantian ethics challenges businesses to treat all stakeholders, employees, customers, suppliers, and even competitors with respect and dignity. This approach fosters a culture of trust and mutual respect, which can lead to long-term success and sustainability. It suggests that businesses have a duty to uphold ethical standards regardless of the consequences. This duty extends beyond legal obligations and encompasses a moral responsibility to do what is right. Imagine a company discovering a flaw in its product. The immediate reaction might be to cover it up to avoid financial loss and damage to the company's reputation. A Kantian approach would prioritize a recall, even if it meant a financial hit. This is because the safety and well-being of customers are paramount, and addressing the flaw transparently is the ethical course of action. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Upholding ethical standards, even in the face of adversity, not only aligns with Kantian principles, but also builds a foundation of trust and integrity that can benefit the business in the long run. Ultimately, Kantian ethics in business is about creating a legacy of ethical behavior that transcends profit margins. It's about making decisions that reflect a commitment to doing what is right, fostering a positive impact on society, and ensuring that the business remains a force for good. Utilitarianism in the boardroom, seeking the greatest good for the greatest number of stakeholders. Utilitarianism, championed by thinkers like John Stuart Mill, takes a different approach. It focuses on maximizing happiness and well-being for the greatest number of people. In the business context, utilitarianism encourages decisions that generate the most overall benefit, considering the interests of all stakeholders. This might involve weighing the potential benefits of a new product against its environmental impact. Or it might mean choosing a supplier based not just on price, but also on their labor practices. Utilitarianism reminds us that businesses operate within a web of interconnected relationships. Their actions have far-reaching consequences.